Welcome to the Confidently Balance Your Hormones podcast. My name is Davidson, and I'm a hormone health expert, master mindset coach, and multiple wellness business entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you experience hormone balance, confidence, self-love, and live a life full of joy. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today. And now let's begin. Welcome to another episode of Confidently Balancing Your Hormones. This is your guide, Dee Davidson, and today I have Danielle Formaro, who is a certified fitness professional and a mother of two boys, as well as a wife. She's an international best-selling author with credentials from Athletics and Fitness Association of America. Danielle is passionate about empowering moms through various avenues, and she offers online weight loss programming, postnatal healing, wellness coaching, and live group fitness via her on-demand streaming service. In addition to her fitness background, Danielle brings over 20 years of experience in the food and restaurant industry. That's quite a switch, weight loss from the food and restaurant industry. We'll talk about that. As a former restaurant owner, and she also hosts online cooking classes, collaborates with major TV networks like NBC, Fox, CBS, ABC to provide expert advice in nutrition, healthy cooking, and fitness through monthly demonstrations with all of those outlets. She just has a huge impact with all of her offerings. She looks at all of these things. She has her own cookbook, literature on motherhood. She's got nationwide clientele. And I'm really excited to have her on here with us today because we're so in alignment with our philosophies. And it's really great to get women like Danielle in front of the audience to connect. And if you hear something today that you love, she's going to give you her contact information at the end of this, but it will be just another great person to put in your toolbox. So welcome, Danielle.
Thank you for having me, Dee. I'm so excited to be here. I know when we first connected, it was like love at first sight. I was like, oh, we just really understand each other. We're so on the same page.
I know, truly, because, there are a lot of fitness and nutrition influencers out there. And sometimes, no judgment, but I cringe and I'm like, oh, I can't really send a client to that person. I don't feel comfortable. And right away I knew, okay, we're talking the same language. We have the same values, and it's just great to connect with you. So I'm excited to have you on. And why don't we just start with telling, the audience a little bit about your background. We know that you were in the restaurant business, and what made you start this business, and what makes you so passionate about it?
Well, I have to say, it really started at a really young age. My mother was always, back in the day, always went to, you could picture the 1980s leg warmers and the outfits, right? How cute they were. So I would be going with my mom to all of her aerobics classes. And my mom also, she's like, why are you giving away my secrets? Back in the day, she also used to always go to the diet center because she was really into staying fit. She always wanted to make sure her nutrition was on point. And I would go with her to these appointments. And I remember saying to my mother at a very, really young age, I really enjoy making healthy food, and I want to be a nutrition someday. And I used to make my mother meals at home. I would make her vegetable trays, and
that's amazing.
And I would do all this stuff. And she, and this is for all of you parents, all you moms especially. Even though some people may cringe at a salad bar these days with all the viruses out there, I would encourage you, if you can, bring your kid to a create your own salad bar. And there's something to say about that, because as a kid, that's where I really started having this passion of combining colorful foods on my plate. And it was a fun way of doing it. Like we all like create your own Sunday bars too, right?
Sure.
But the salad bars is where it all started for me. And so at a young age, I was exposed to that. And that's why I tell so many moms, you're not just working out and eating healthy for you, but you're being a role model for your children. You're setting up their future success and their future health by teaching them the right ways from the get-go, because they will suffer if you're constantly rewarding them with candy. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a whole nother topic of psychological damage as we get older, is food rewards is something else we can chat about after. But it started at a young age, but I always had a passion for food. I come from an Armenian Italian family. Cooking and food is everything. So cooking and nourishing and sharing that with someone else is how we show our love
That's
is by
right.
food. So I worked in the food and beverage industry my whole life. It started at the age of my first job. I was creating salads.
Oh
Oh,
my
what a
gosh,
surprise.
imagine.
It was super salad at the Burlington Mall.
Your
And
inner
I used to
child was so happy. Your inner child was like, yay.
right now, I'm not going to lie. I indulged too as a kid. My mom had the snack drawer with all the
Sure,
unhealthy high fructose corn syrup items. They were all in there. So we didn't know in the 80s.
totally.
And we thought cheese puffs were totally cool.
Yeah.
So, but moving forward, I did everything you can imagine in the restaurant industry, from being a hostess to the server to the bartender to the manager to the event planner. And then I was an event planner in the city of Boston for about 15 years. And that led to me opening up my own French restaurant, which unfortunately closed. No reasons whatsoever other than our lease was up and it was time to go. But it was a very successful French restaurant. And from there, I really started diving more into how can we eat out and still stay healthy. And
Mm.
my passion for fitness was still there. So I started teaching at local gyms just off to the side for fun whenever I could. And I will tell you, after having two children, this is where the shift came in.
Oh yeah, those kids.
It's the kids. I went through my first pregnancy. And already being in love with fitness my whole life. I was a dancer growing up, so loved being physically fit. I was working out at the age of 16 because, again, watching my mom, it inspired me. It was something I just naturally had a passion for. I used to work out in front of my stuffed animals and pretend I was an instructor as a child. It was just something that
Wow.
was there. But when I had my two kids, my first one, I realized I didn't want to be in the restaurant industry every day anymore. I wanted to be home with my child. I didn't want a nanny raising my kid. I wanted to be that one my child came home to at school and smelt the dinner cooking on the stove, just like me when I was a kid. So I ended up taking a step back, but I still continued to have this as a mother, as a pregnant woman, and then into motherhood. I realized, oh my gosh, like our bodies go through such change, and realizing the struggle of being one way and then going, creating a life, having
Mm-hmm.
the baby, and then having to regain yourself after the baby
Mm-hmm.
again, regain your identity, regain your fitness, regain your health. I had to start from scratch. And I started realizing, oh my gosh, like this is something women are struggling with. And I was scared at first myself, saying, what if my body's going to be like this forever? And I struggled for
Totally.
a second. I had a moment of like, what if syndrome? And I realized, wait a minute, I know what to do. Like, I've been doing this long enough. I've been teaching. I know enough about nutrition. This is, way back before I even had all the certifications I have today. But I was able to get myself back after having two children. I gained over 50 pounds with each. Within 4 months, I was able to get my body back just like it was before the baby. But I realized this is something that's really in need. Women are struggling. They're having, baby bulge. They're having ab separation. It was never told to
No.
me
I know
until I
no one
got told
talks
about
about
it.
it.
No one
The
talks
only thing
about
I
it.
remember, Danielle, is at one of my OB appointments, and like you, I've always loved fitness. I would come home and my mom's like, "Oh, I remember you used to like have me sit on your feet and do sit-ups. Remember when people used to do those?"
Yes.
And I'd be eating my eggs and things like that, and protein shakes and all that. But I remember my OB saying to me when I was pregnant with my first, and my body just does not react well to pregnancy. My hormones went wacky. Although I exercised as far into my pregnancy as I could, I remember I started gaining, especially that third trimester, and my OB said to me, Dee, just remember you're a small person. I'm like 5 feet and, 105 pounds usually. And she said, you're going to be stuck with all of that extra weight. And that was so horrifying. And I thought, how mean. But, as we're going to continue our conversation, there are so many women uh, in that space. They may have been fit and now they're like, I don't know how to get my body back.
And that's just the thing, is there's a lot of things that happen to us that are not told to us. And this is why, my mission after I had my first was, I'm going to help as many mothers as I can understand what happened to their body and what they can do to heal and restore it. And,
So
I
important.
got, it's so important. And, belly button hernia is one of the biggest things that happens, and it's due to ab separation. Women don't understand that 65% of us have ab separation after birth. A lot of us, it doesn't close on its own. You have to do very targeted transverse abdominals exercises. Regular exercises will actually make it worse if you're doing crunches and planks.
Planks. Oh.
Oh man, like any of your moms listening here, if you're like, I've done everything, you're doing it wrong if you're doing that type of stuff. It's a very targeted training program, and I didn't know about it until I went to the doctor.
Sure.
And I said, why is my belly button stick out? When's it going to go back in? Because I used to love my little inner belly button.
Right.
And it ain't going back in. I said, why? She's like, because you have hernia and you also have ab separation. And she called it diastasis recti is the proper name for it. Didn't know what that was. And from there, I said, oh my goodness, like this is a real problem. And hormones too, like, right, Dee, when you after a baby, like your hormones were out of whack, my hormones, everyone's hormones are out of whack. So how do we balance our hormones? How do we get rid of the mom pooch? And how do we even just regain our identity? How do we combine old me, new me, and have a sense of just a life of wellness again? Like, when does this happen with all the lack of sleep?
And I'm going to add, my branding is confidently love yourself, but that is at the root of it is loving and accepting this version of ourselves that, again, you just created a human life, right? But the loving acceptance there has to be present to say, okay, this is where I'm at. Doesn't mean I have to be stuck here forever, but I have to love my body because my cells are listening. And if we're pouring negative thoughts into our body, it's like a plant dying.
I know. So, my first son loved dinosaurs. And so we used to joke around. And when one of his toys would break, I'm like, oh, it just has battle damage. It's okay. It's still fun to play with.
I love that.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, it's kind of like your belly button. That's battle damage from me being in your belly. I was like,
you're like, thanks for the reminder.
So I'm like, and that's kind of funny. It kind of made me laugh because I said, rather than sit there and be like, every 2 seconds, look down at, like, for example, we may look at our stretch marks or this or that. It's kind of like, this is my battle damage from creating a life. And it's okay to have it. It's fine.
Exactly.
And some things are going to change after a child. Some things will change, but there is so much you can do to feel comfortable in your own skin again. And people do need to understand that it's not hopeless because you had a kid either. Like, there's a fine line between accepting, but also you don't want to make justifications or excuses to not do it or want to get back into shape either.
Yes, I'm sure that you've had the clients or the discovery calls, and I always just, no judgment, but they're like, since I had kids, I'm like, how old's your kid? 26. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, let's stop using that as an excuse, right?
Oh, the excuses crack me up, and it's funny because we all use an excuse for something. Like, all of us have it. All of us have a justification for something. But, at the end of the day, and this is what I tell my clients, getting fit or starting a new routine is just like getting pregnant. Okay. For me, I was never ready to get pregnant. I started a little on the late side. I started at 35. I know, I feel like now these days, everyone's starting later, but that's back when I'm 45 and I had my second at 40.
Yeah.
And man, was I tired.
I can relate to that. I had my first at 37. So
yeah. So, it's just funny because it's like there's never a good time to get pregnant. There's always a wedding. There's always a vacation. There's always something. That's why my advice to everyone is this. There's never going to be a good time. And if you can train, and when I work one-on-one with clients, I'm not teaching them a super restrictive fad diet. There's a million ways to lose weight out there, let's be honest. But what's the way that we can just make some small tweaks, get some major results? What is sustainable? Forget about trying to lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks. It's not healthy. The quicker you lose it, usually easier you're going to be gaining back. You want to go a little slow and steady is my philosophy with weight loss. Do it the right way because it's just so worth it. And if you're trained, and Dee, you can vouch for this, if you are educated, let's say that, not told what to do, but you're actually educated by a coach what to do instead of just giving directions or here's your meal plan, off you go.
Right.
How about I educate you how to build your own meal plan so that you can sustain this for life, whether you dine out, go on a vacation. Hey, I worked in a restaurant for 20 years, I never meal prepped. I never planned my food. It was
Right.
whatever other, but I did create a dining out cheat sheet for my clients based on what I did do for myself. You go out to a restaurant, you can ask for whatever you want,
I tell my clients this all the time. I'm like, you just have to
right?
ask. Michael and I went out last night to dinner and she's like, I'm like, I don't eat corn. I don't eat that, but she's like, let me go check. Let me go check. And, I'm like, you have the right to ask what kind of oil they're cooking your food in.
Absolutely. And you don't have to order just because it looks good. Hey, this is very simple things, ladies. You go out to the restaurant, just if it says smothered, no, stay away. It's smothered in butter. Okay. If it says sauteed, I wouldn't do it either because they're probably not using a high smoke point oil and
That's
it's just
right.
going to be fried food. That's maybe a whole nother topic. Okay. You want to go for simple things like baked without breadcrumb because that's all butter again. Grilled is the best thing you can go for. But yeah, you should ask them, are you putting butter on it? Yes, we do. Can I have no butter? And now you just have ask them for a side of lemon instead because they're going to tell you it's not going to look that good on your plate without us putting. It's like that's okay. I still want a grill and I want this on the side. Modifications. I mean, everyone has a food allergy these days. They're used to it. Let's be
Right.
honest. They're
Right.
used to it.
Right.
So have no shame in asking for modifications at the restaurant. But yeah, there's just so much that's it's sustainability at the end of the day. What can you learn that you can sustain? There's never a perfect time. You just got to dive in and do it. And here's the thing, Dee, do you feel like people think weight loss is so black and white? It has to be
Oh
all
my
in
gosh.
or
Yes.
all out. Like, what is that philosophy? It is the grayest area in the world. There is no black and white with weight loss. The trick to weight loss is to just not give up. Just
That's
don't
right.
give up. Be relentless about what you want. There's days where you're going to fall on your face. You're going to so mess up. You're going to binge watch a show and eat cookies and you're going to just fall off the wagon. It's fine. Just get back on it the next day.
That's
Don't give
right.
up just because you messed up for a day. Maybe you messed up for a week. Who cares? It's the people that want it more that get the results, even with your career. You ever notice someone is on TV and you're like, I could probably do that better than them? Guess what? You could cook better than, let's just say you could cook better than Gordon Ramsay. But
Right.
guess who wanted him more? He wanted that gig more than you did. And that's why he's there.
That's right.
You. And that's weight loss.
And
You
it's
know?
the belief system too. I think a lot of people, we work a lot in my programs around mindset because people believe like maybe they've just had a problem with weight their whole life because no one like you or I has sat with them and had a conversation about foundational things, the blood sugar regulation, the what I call magic plates, the, snacking, all of that. Maybe they've just never had someone really help them and look at all of those foundational things. And now they just have this belief that I have a weight problem. So again, we have to change our mindset around it too, that oh, I always go through these cycles. Well, let's change that. In the past, I've gone through those
Mm-hmm.
cycles, right? So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of mindset that goes into it when we
Yeah.
talk about weight loss for
Yes.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to you brought up the fad diet. So let's touch upon that. So what are some of the worst cringy things that you see women doing that's ruining their metabolism? Because when you talk about hormones, I have a lot of women that come to me. Most of my clients are ages 40 plus who have just done a number on their metabolism and their hormones. What are some of
Mm-hmm.
those things that you would urge women not to be doing?
Mm-hmm. Here's the simplest way. If you can't do something for more than 30 days, don't do it. And now I'm going to say this up front, though. There is some people with some predispositions that may need to go on certain diets. For example, if you're a diabetic, okay, you do have to be really careful about your simple carb intake. You do have to go on a low glycemic, which means those who do not know what the glycemic index is, every food is rated on a scale of 1 through 100, how it makes your blood sugar level spike, right? So some people will have to stay on these really low glycemic diets, but that's someone that actually has a specific condition. Now, for those of you that don't have any special condition that doesn't require you to eat a certain amount of carbs in a day, there's nothing wrong with you other than you just don't have the discipline or the knowledge or the education. Harvard just did a big study and basically said straight out flat, they said fad diets simply don't work. There's been millions of metadata analysis tests done. They don't work. People gain the weight back. And the reason why people are gaining the weight back after these fad diets is they're not sustainable. So let me give you some examples, okay? Intermittent fasting, does it work? Sure, it does. It works for a lot of people. But let me ask you a question. Can you do it forever?
And can we just stop there and talk about what intermittent fasting does to most women's hormones? Intermittent fasting is so great for men. God designed men to be able to eat that way. We have
different.
I say men have a 1 day cycle. We have like a long cycle, right? And we do really need when women have cravings before their period. We talk about that in my programs. You need to eat certain foods. You really do need to amp up your calories and red meat and all of these things, right? So intermittent fasting, people jump on the bandwagon, but I can tell you from all of the hormone tests that I do that you might look fit. I was a case of looking fit and, getting lots of compliments. And when I did my hormone testing, I had to be my own first client. I was shocked at how terribly I crashed my hormones. And one of the things I talk about in one of my previous episodes is how I crashed my hormones. I thought that working out in in a fasted state would burn fat. Well, I was fit, but my hormones, I was so tired. I was exhausted. I was irritable. It was just doing really bad things that, I'm going to be 50, but in another 5 years, 10 years, it would even be more debilitating to my overall health because your body can't handle all of those stressors. You might already have things going on, and then you add not eating and doing a crazy boot camp or a HIIT workout. Your body's not thanking you for that.
You know what? This is why you and I are love at first sight. And so I'll even elaborate a little bit more on Dee said. So many women are asking me about intermittent fasting, and I'm like, I would advise you to not do that. And there's when I explain it to my clients, I say, hey, listen, you can put your body in a fat burning state or a fat storage state. It's very simple. What is fat storage? When you don't feed your body when you should, what happens is your body starts to think, ooh, is everything okay? Are we starving? And so when we eat food, your body may not use it as energy and expel it. It might store it as fat because it doesn't know it's going to get fed again. It goes into survival mode. Now, if you're eating regularly, okay, every 2 to 3 hours, time nutrition, super important for your metabolism. Why is it important? Because when you consume that food, your body knows, and it's so used to, oh, I'll be getting fed in a couple of hours. Let's use this as energy and let's expel it. And now she's going to feel awake and alert. So that's that fat burning mode. Metabolism starts to speed up. Now, why would your metabolism slow down is the question. Why would it slow down if I don't eat a lot? I don't eat enough? Because your body doesn't want to expel the energy because it's scared to. Because if it does, you could go into a really bad place, right? You could start having major health complications.
That's right.
So yeah, and men and women are so different.
Yeah, it's like we hear it all the time. My husband, he goes on a diet for a week and he's lost 20 pounds, right? Well, there's that's the whole hormone thing and how women's bodies are designed very differently. So, intermittent fasting, so what would you say to, again, this is no judgment to anyone that does these things, by the way, it's a learning process. And I talk a lot about bioindividuality. What works for one person might not work for another person. That's why it's really important to work with someone like Danielle or myself, who really is going to take the time to listen to everything that's going on in your life and what is going to benefit your health the most. But what about those people that are getting up, they're losing sleep, I say, they're taken away from their sleep to get a boot camp or a CrossFit workout in. They're getting up at 4:30 in the morning and doing that. What about that?
Yeah, I mean, sleep, there's a hormone produced when you sleep, as you know, somatotropin. It's a really, really important hormone. And there's two ways you get that hormone. What that hormone does is that helps us lose weight. It helps us expel fat. It's crucial. And there's two ways to get that hormone. One is high intensity workouts, and high intensity guys, it's a different meaning for everybody. And I tell everyone, you don't have to jump up and down and touch your knees, those crazy jumping moves you see people do and hit. It just means that you're at a level 7 on a scale of 1 to 10, you're at a level 7 exertion. So you're just really challenging your own body. But that's one way to get that hormone. Okay. The other way to get it's through sleep. So lack of it causes fatigue, it causes weight gain, it causes depression or anxiety. But when we have a nice abundance of that, we can really have good fat oxidation. We can really release fat from our body. It really works in our favor. And the two ways to get that is from getting adequate sleep. That's why when you wake up, you're exhausted. You're low in somatotropin, right? You really need that. You need that hormone. So, but again, one thing that Dee is saying is, okay, if you're stressing your body out at 4 a.m, is that really good for you? If you already have high cortisol, it might not be good for you. Right. But again, in some blood types, some people are better working out in the morning and some people should work out at night. It all depends on your genetics. And again, that's why you have a coach. That you're a chemistry lab for us. There's no one size fits all. I have a client that she wasn't losing weight for 2 weeks. I wondered why. We looked back at her logs, looked at her history. Okay, what were you doing differently 2 weeks ago that you were like crushing it? She was working out in the morning. Same. Okay, so we swapped it back, and now she's losing weight again. Right. But you have to constantly keep testing your body and trying new things, and that's something a coach is going to guide you through versus you trying to figure this out on your own. It's almost impossible if you're not educated and you don't know what to do. It's very overwhelming, to say the least.
Right. So let's jump to your online fitness program, which I think is amazing, especially since COVID. As you know, I had started my practice with the fitness thing, and I quickly realized, I like working out for me, but I don't like helping other people work out. So this is such a great partnership, and recording those videos and not looking like, oh my gosh, I'm like, oh my God, I'm out of breath. I don't want to be doing these workouts. But I think it's amazing because so many of my clients, they want that. They don't have the time to physically drive to the gym. They have no desire to. And you provide these online workouts that are strategic. So tell us a little bit about the online program and what someone can expect.
Yeah. So Danielle on Demand was actually created right at COVID. Shocker. And I used to teach at a gym, and of course, gyms closed down. So, I said to myself, maybe I should just hop on Zoom and teach my classes from Zoom. And it became so popular. And a lot of the women that I work with are working. They're either working or they're moms, right? So they wanted to get in a workout from home, and during COVID, no one could go to a gym, but it ended up sticking. And I started teaching 3 days a week in the morning. And since COVID, now my online library and Danielle on Demand has about 500, I counted yesterday, 557 workouts. My goal is to get to 1,000.
Congratulations.
So I'm halfway there.
I know the work that takes, so I'm glad to just be like, here, go see Danielle for that workout.
Yeah. And it started off, it's so funny because, when I started off, it was just in my living room with my dog bed in the background. And now since then, I've built a professional studio and with all professional lighting and sound and music. So from the comfort of your own home, you can experience over 500 and 27 completely different workouts, all follow along under an hour for any single body type, age, or fitness level. You just press play and you follow along and you get all the options that you need. But I understand not every type of workout's for everyone, though. So you can really have a full experience of every type of workout. If you're a HIIT girl, you've got your HIIT. If you're a strength girl, you've got your strength. If you're a bar girl, you've got your bar. We even have yoga coming in. Actually, speaking of it, my yoga instructor is downstairs teaching the yoga classes right now. So now we have yoga coming in. So one thing I don't teach, but we also have everything from stretch to HIIT and strength to buns and guns, killer buns and thighs. I'm really big on the lower body. That's another conversation, why the lower body for women is so important to focus on. Mm-hmm. But it's just been a wonderful platform. I've had the same clients going on 4 years now, which is impressive. Usually instructors, people get sick of your voice and your face, usually after 6 months. So I feel pretty excited. They're still okay with looking at me in the morning.
Well, I have to say, I'm not going to ask your age, but you look amazing. And I think that's motivational. Again, I think, when people see that someone's walking the talk. That's motivational and inspirational. You want to follow the people that are actually doing the thing that you want to be doing. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. And your energy is really great, Danielle. I told you that from the first time. Energy is everything. When we plug into people that have good energy, we want more of that, right?
Absolutely. No, it really is. And I'll tell you something, the girls that have been with me, they fill me up. I tell them every day, I said, I know that I'm giving you what you need, but you girls give me what I need to. It
Oh,
really is a one hand
it's
wash the
true.
other experience. They're like family to me. They're like my children. If one goes missing,
Oh.
I panic. Where are you? I haven't seen you in a week. They're like, are you okay? Like, I'm fine. I'm on vacation. I'm like, okay, thank God. But working out at home was a game changer for me. I used to go to the gym. I was a gym girl my whole life. And I was on an airplane watching an infomercial and to this program that I saw way back in the day. And I tried it out at my house. I realized I got better results from this video I was doing. And that's what inspired me to start doing home workouts to begin with, is because I'm like,
Mm.
oh, I don't have to forget my bra when I went to the
Right.
go to work braless for the
Right.
day,
Right.
or like have the drive
Everything's
or
right here.
everything's right here in my house. It's, but the trick though is like you want to constantly shock the body though. Like I know Dee, we talked about this not long ago, but it's important you're not doing the same workout every single day either. You constantly have to shock the body if you really want to get, we'll say shocking
Results.
results, right? You
Right.
have to,
Right.
so
Makes so
yeah,
much sense. You
it's
just
been pretty
touched upon
awesome.
something that that I'm a big believer in, which is community. And especially again, since COVID, I think it changed so many things. More people are working from home. They're not getting out as much. And I hear over and over again that women are craving connection and community. And I know that's something that you do a wonderful job of providing. So can you talk a little bit about your community and how you facilitate that?
Oh my gosh, community is so important. One thing I love to ask my clients is what was it about working with me? What made it successful for you? I was just doing a video testimony earlier with one of my clients that lost 40 pounds. And
Awesome.
yeah, and had hormonal imbalance and that the whole thing, PCOS, and it goes on. But, she said, the support in the community, and that's what it is. It's like, we have a morning wake up call, for example,
Mm,
right? Like, how do we get up in the morning and not be tired? Well, easy. We actually have a morning wake up call where I actually get on, it's a WhatsApp uh, group text, so we don't blow up people's cell phones, right? Just in and out. But we wake each other up. Are you up? I'm up. I'm up. I'm up. All these hands are up. I'm up. Some of us will call each other if we don't wake up. Are
that's
you
so
up out
great.
of bed? I mean, it's literally like we're all responsible for each other and getting us out of bed. That's one way we stay in connection.
Connected.
Then we have the live workouts. So not only is Danielle on demand pre-recorded workouts, but my clients have the opportunity to work out live with me 3 days a week. So they see each other on the Zooms. And
That's
then we have
great.
to take a step further. And quarterly, we have meetups. So one time we did like a really nice dinner and cocktail party. Yes, we have cocktail tea. It's all about balance.
It is balance. You
It's
can't
all
never
balance.
eat chocolate again. I remember I had one client who told me she only ate sweets on her birthday. Can you imagine? She only ate cake once a
Oh, poor
year. And I'm like,
thing.
I know. I'm like, really? I don't know. I
Oh,
mean, that sounds like a big thing to give up forever.
yeah, I mean that's like Lent all year long for us
I
Catholics. Like,
know.
yeah, that's hard. That's hard to. I can't say that I do that. I mean, I actually love my dark chocolate. Again, it's just about balance.
Right.
But I think, like I said, like wrapping up the community thing. We try to do quarterly meetups. Like we just had a live workout event. Some of my clients had never met me in person. I never met them, and they've been working out with me over Zoom for 3 years.
That's
So
so
we
awesome.
see each
That's
other in
like
person.
our
We're like,
community too. We have people
yeah,
all over and they feel like they know each other because they're in the community together on Facebook or on my live Zooms and things. And
yeah.
the common thing is that all of the people in our groups, yours and mine, they want to be healthy. They want to be a better version of themselves. So it's just such, again, great energy.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Facebook is just an amazing platform for groups now. Of course, you have private Facebook groups where,
Hmm.
as a professional, no matter what profession you're in, I encourage you to constantly run, if you have a network, run a monthly challenge because that's really, really great. Like we do these monthly challenges with each other where there'll be prizes given, but that also makes people communicate and talk back and forth. And these girls have totally gone off the Facebook group and they're chatting on their cell phones to each other now because they've got these things in common that they want to
That's so
talk
great.
about, right? And so social media, it can be overwhelming, but it's such a blessing for relationships internationally now. So there's just
Absolutely.
so many ways to stay in touch. But community is everything,
Yeah.
because if you're feeling like you're falling off, guess what? So isn't she. And she might say, I'm falling off. And then you go on, I do too. Want to do a challenge together? I mean, it's just so cute, like what people will do. But community is everything for sustainability. I mean, think about it. Remember what our parents used to say to us, Steve, when we were younger? You are who you hang out with. Remember
Yes.
that?
But it is true, right? It
Yeah.
is true.
So
It
you
is
have to
true.
stay in touch with people that want the same things as you. You have to be
Yes.
people there that want to lift you up, not people that are going to criticize you or be jealous, God forbid, of what you're doing because maybe they want to do it, but they can't, so they get mad at
Yeah,
you for doing it, which
that's
happens a
right.
lot.
I
So,
totally
so
agree.
important.
So, Danielle, speaking of community and connection, where can people find you going online or Facebook, or where is your preferred place that people go to connect with you?
Yeah, people can connect me really any way. I always love to direct people to my website first because you can really get some free downloads, some free ebooks. You can really learn about everything that I have to offer for women. I even have my own private supplement label as well, supplements just for women and moms, which they're really fun and inviting and super awesome product, all organic and natural too. But if you go to www.mightymamafitness.com, and so mighty is just how it's spelled, mama's with two M's, mightymamafitness.com. That's my website. That's the best way you can really set up. If you want to set up a free consultation with me and chat with me, no charge. You can do that right on the website. Or, of course, you can find me on Facebook, Danielle Formaro, right on Facebook. You can DM me, or you can follow me on Instagram. Shoot me a DM there. It's Mighty Mama Danielle Formaro. But I can also leave my information. I don't know if in the podcast you have spots to put
We'll put it
contact
underneath the
information.
podcast. Yes, a lot of people don't
Yeah.
realize that, but if you look under this episode, we'll have Danielle's links there and you can connect really easily. Just go scroll down and click right on it. And
Yeah, I'll leave my cell phone there, my business phone. I'll leave my email so you can just simply shoot me a text. My clients have 24/7 access to me, so I'm used to getting texts and I don't mind. It's what I love to do. But I would encourage you, even if you're struggling with something, um, a consultation, even like with Dee or me, a consultation's why not? You got nothing to lose other than talk about what's going on and maybe just leave there with figuring out some clarity on why you're struggling would be the
mhm.
first step. And then you can decide if you want to take action on it after that.
Yeah, I couldn't recommend Danielle enough. I really encourage you if you feel stuck or don't feel like hiring a trainer and getting out of your house that way. Danielle works with people one-on-one as well. She's very personalized in her approach, as am I, and we're both here for you. So thanks so much, Danielle, for coming on today and sharing your nuggets of wisdom.
Thanks, Dee. It's been honestly a true pleasure. And thanks again for having me on.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Confidently Balancing Your Hormones. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd love for you to share it with a friend and also hit follow at the top of this podcast. If you have a couple of minutes and you can leave a quick review, it will help other women in need find this podcast. You can find me on Instagram at confidently_love_yourself. I would love to stay connected and hear from you.